It's the Fort Hays State University Coaches Show on Eagle Community Television, brought to you by Eagle Communications.
Hi, I'm Gerard Walbrock, voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers, inviting you to join me for Tiger Talk. Airs Monday nights from 6 until 6:30 on Tiger Radio Mix 103, and then the video replay on Eagle Cable Channel 14 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We'll talk Fort Hays State football with head coach Chris Brown, preview the last game, and look ahead to the next week's action on Tiger Talk. Monday nights, 6 till 6:30 on Tiger Radio Mix 103 and on Eagle Cable Channel 14. Welcome once again to Tiger Talk as we talk Fort Hays State University football. This is Gerard Walbrock. Good to have you with us for the first program of the season. We'll be joined tonight and each and every evening throughout the football season with head coach Chris Brown as we look at the camp for tonight and then preview Thursday night's season opener. The Broncos from Central Oklahoma come to Lewis Field. That'll be coming up right after this on Tiger Talk. Welcome once again to Tiger Talk as we preview the start of the Fort Hays State football season. Tigers getting set to open up Thursday night at home against the Broncos from Central Oklahoma. Coach will get into that as we move along, but I'm sure you, your staff, and probably maybe more so your players eager to get after it. It's been a long camp, a hot camp, and ready to get after and play opponent, I'm sure.
Yeah, it has been, but we've had a pretty good camp with these kids. They've done what we asked them to do. They came in every day and worked their tails off, and came to every meeting prepared, ready to get after it and learn. And we got to use indoor twice, through camp because of the rain and the lightning. But the kids have a great attitudes through camp. They've worked hard, pushed one another through the hard times, and became a pretty good group of kids that we didn't have to worry too much about. Just did the things we asked them to do, and we're pretty enthusiastic and excited. And that's all you can ask about from these kids. And as long as they can continue to do the things they're doing right now, I think they're going to have a pretty successful season.
Let's go back to the summer. I know we talked a lot last year about getting kids to stay in town, getting the voluntary off-season workouts and conditioning and different things, and it seemed to finally take hold. You had a good number stay in town, and how did that maybe give you an advantage or at least set you ahead of where you were in years past?
We used to have 20 to 25, those kids didn't really get close to understand what we wanted to get done, but now we had 55 to 60 kids. They became a family. They hung around each other, all summer long. Did some 7-on-7s, did some team stuff on their own, and it was just an impressive summer for them. I mean, just the way their bodies look now, the shape that they're in, the conditioning level that they're at, is tremendous, and it's a lot different than where we were in the past. And it's just the closest of the team. And when you hang out with guys all summer long, all year long, you become pretty close. You become a family, and that's what they did this summer. They just need to continue to do those things through the summer, and hopefully, what they did this summer helps them on the football field and gives us some success here in the future.
Doug Boucher, the new strength and conditioning coach, hired earlier this year. What kind of an impact has he had on the program already?
A great impact. I mean, he's a great motivator in the weight room, and just the speed and agility stuff that he does with our young men, and just his thoughts about the strength and conditioning of each individual. He really specializes on each kid on what they need to work on. Sees where they're weak in one area and they're strong in another, and he's going to work on those weaknesses. And it's just great to have a guy like that can really hone in on the kids and focus on each kid individually. Where in the past we were just throwing them in there and lifting. And those kids have gotten better and they've improved tremendously. And kudos to him. And he's done a great job in the short amount of time that he's had them.
Every year at any level of football, depth always becomes a big worry or a big concern. And obviously everybody tries to get as much depth as possible. And it seems like finally getting some strides in that area, a lot more competition and a lot more depth at most positions.
There is. At the quarterback position, we definitely got 2 guys that could play for us at any time. Wide receiver, we got 5 to 6 guys that can play for us there. On the O-line, we got 8 to 9 guys that I feel like could be out there at any time for us. Then at running back, we're probably 4 deep at running back of kids that can play for us, which is really good. When you go look at our offensive side of the ball. Then defensively, D-line, we probably got about, 7 to 8 kids that are going to have time, but the main 6 of them are going to play quite a bit for us. And then linebacker, we got 3 or 4 kids. Outside, we got probably 3 kids, but we're working a corner in there. We're working a safety in there. And that safety, we got 2 kids. In corner, we got 3. So not a lot of depth, but we're better than what we have been in the past. And, we just need to continue to keep building that depth as we go along in our program.
It's still somewhat of a young team, although you have more veterans maybe than you've had in the past, but a lot of the backups, true or redshirt freshmen or maybe some sophomores who got on the field a little bit a year ago, still has some youth, and that's exciting.
We do. We do have 13 seniors going into this season, and they've done a great job of sticking through what we've done so far and really become leaders for us. But we're still going to have some young guys on the football field, but that's good for the future. They're learning from our older kids. They're learning the techniques, the fundamentals, how to play the game, and just seeing our old kids do it, makes our younger kids better. But, we got to get them some reps in the game and get them ready to play here in the future. But, I feel like those young kids that we have are a pretty talented group of kids.
Tigers get it all started Thursday night. The Broncos from Central Oklahoma come calling to Lewis Field. We'll obviously talk more about the season opener as we move along. Tiger Talk presented again this season by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine and Hayes, where the fire's always burning. We'll take a break, be back with more with head football coach Chris Brown right after this on Tiger Talk. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. Gerard Walbrock, head football coach Chris Brown. It's all presented again by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, voted the area's steakhouse of the year. Once again, check out all the great daily specials, the half-price appetizers, and much, much more at Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine and Hayes, where the fire's always burning. 4-day state opening up against the Broncos of Central Oklahoma Thursday night, a Thursday night kickoff, and you've had 3 scrimmages during camp to kind of get yourself ready. Defense controlled early. I know the last scrimmage, the offense looked much, much better. I guess kind of to be expected the way it seems to fall. Defense always a little bit ahead of the offense. But were you happy with what you saw? Were you happy with the progression? You feel you guys are ready?
I really do. The first scrimmage I thought was pretty close, offensive, defensively. Second scrimmage, defense just totally took over. But, when you looked at our offense in that scrimmage, a lot of it was timing, snaps, a couple bad snaps. Cadence, and kids getting in the right position where they needed to be. And we were off on our timing. Third scrimmage, got the timing back on offense. Did some great things, on the field offensively. Some big plays, some great runs, by our running backs. And, our O-line did a great job protecting our quarterback and giving our running backs holes to run through. But, I thought for camp and the 3 scrimmage, I thought these kids really improved, each week and each scrimmage and each day they got better. And, I feel like we might be a little bit farther ahead than we were last year at this time.
Quarterback, always a key position. Maybe it gets too much praise. Maybe it doesn't get enough. It's always back and forth on that. But you've got some competition this year. You've had more depth there than you've had in recent years. Obviously, Travion, the returning starter, but Kevin Spain has come in and done a very good job. And you kind of alluded to it, a chance to see both of them play. Have you settled on your starter? How are you going to go about that?
We're not going to let it out there yet, but, Travion's done a great job, especially through this summer and the things that he's done of being a great leader, getting the guys out there on the field, doing the 7-on-7s. And, just his feet alone, can give defense trouble, but he's done a great job of learning our offense, being able to read the secondary now and what they're doing coverage-wise. And, Kevin's just, right behind him doing the same things. Not as great as feet, but he can still run pretty good. But, Travion's looking really, really good right now.
And running back, it's going to be strange. No Andre Smith. He's been such a mainstay and such a steady component of the offense. But Edward Smith now his senior year, and you've got some guys behind him, some younger guys. And one that really stands out, Josh Beecham. He got in last year, kind of some mop-up role duty, but he's really improved, giving you guys a lot more depth at that position.
He has. And Ed's done a great job, too. He's turned into a totally different runner. He used to be kind of the guy that would cut here, cut here, cut here, and now he's a one-cut guy, and he gets vertical. And that's good to see out of him, and that's what you want. But Josh Beecham has really matured as a running back, has really developed into being a great back for us, sees things well, and I expect big things out of him. Then you also have Kenneth Naheem, who's reminds me a lot of Ed, straight downhill, one cut and goes, and then you got James Sullivan, who's just going to be a redshirt freshman, but he's a pretty strong kid, pretty powerful kid. So those guys are really impressive to me.
And it seems like offense, it all starts up front. The offensive line, you kind of alluded to it earlier, maybe more depth than you've had in the past. Matt Herbert returns after missing all of last year with an injury. So you've got 3-4 guys who have starting experience coming back.
You do. Matt Herbert, he has played for us before, and he's back, and he's going to be a huge impact for the offensive line. Colby Hamill, who's played a lot of, started at Hutch Community College and then was a guard and has a lot of experience as well, and he's going to be starting for us. Mason Dickey, who started last year as a true freshman. And you got Luke Eden, who started for us for the last 2 years, I believe. And then, you got, who else is there? There's one, Jared Stent, and there's so many of them. Jordan McDonald, guys that got experience. And the good thing about that group, there's not one senior in that group. They're all underclassmen, and they got another year to come back. Most of those kids.
So the offense raring to go. We'll take a look at the defense when we come back. Program again brought to you by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine and Hayes, where the fire's always burning. More Tiger Talk with head football coach Chris Brown right after this. Welcome back for Tiger Talk as we preview the Fort Hays State football season, which gets underway on Thursday. A 7 o'clock kick at Lewis Field. Central Oklahoma comes to town. Tiger Talk brought to you by the fine folks at Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine and Hayes, where the fire's always burning. All appetizers half price, 8 till close every night of the week at Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill. Coach, we talked about the offense. Let's shift gears a little bit. Talk about the defense, and it seems like the chance to be much better on this side of the ball. You've increased depth. It seems like athleticism and speed have been increased as well. Kind of exciting to see what these guys can do.
Yeah, it is, and it all starts up front again. You got Jesse Trent, Joey T.I., Thomas Malesi, Brandon Walther, Andre McKinnon, who's new to us, Johnny Hubbard. And then we got a freshman in Luke Wright who plays defenses in for us as well. And, you know, it all starts with those guys. And, you know, they've done a good job through camp of maintaining their gaps, taking down double teams, and, you know, getting a pretty decent pass rush as well. And then get to your linebackers. And Michael Terry is, you know, if he would have played all 3 years like he's playing right now, you know, he'd be, you know, probably an All-American, you know, for us. But, you know, he's really improved. And you got Justin McPhail, who's done a great job in filling in. And Brock Long, you know, who JUCO kid that transferred in, you know, in the semester and has really come along and learned what we're doing, you know, defensively. And then you got your twins, you know, at our safety position. And those kids are fast, they're athletic, they're physical, you know, can play man coverage, can play zone coverage, can play a deep half, and even play a third. I mean, they can do it all for you and blitz off the edge if you need them to. Then Michael Jordan, who, you know, through camp and through this, you know, time so far that we've had him, has really tremendously improved, you know, this camp. And when I see him, I can see a kid that has the potential to be, you know, a first-team All-Conference and a first-team All-American just by the things he's done. And, you know, Raheem Dumas at one corner, then we got Ed Brown at the other, and Raheem Dumas right now is playing the best I've ever seen him play. So a lot of speed on the field. I feel like we've got a lot of talent there. They just need to put it all together this first game and show what they can do.
You mentioned Michael Jordan. It's really been fun to watch him mature. Came to Fort Hays as a running back. You moved him to defense early. He's been talented on the field, but you can really see his leadership ability, and he's a lot more vocal now than he was even last season.
Yeah, he is. He's not as vocal as you want him to be, but I think he just feels comfortable now with what we're doing defensively. He's really starting to understand how it works and how things are kind of put together. And, you know, just his speed on the field right now and the way he plays the game so physical and fast and aggressive. I mean, he's just a kid right now that has just improved tremendously in a short amount of time.
Turnover is always a key on defense. The turnover margin, you guys finished in the black, I guess, plus turnover margin, which you're always looking for. But the last 6 or 7 games, it was very evident. That was one of the key factors in turning the season around and finishing on such a strong note. I know that's how you like to play. I'd imagine that's one of the keys for this group, again, creating those turnovers.
It is, and I think the more physical we play the game defensively and offensively, you know, the more turnovers we're going to create on defense and less on offense. And, you know, that's what we need to do. Get to the ball, see the ball in the air, break on it. You know, that's our ball. When the running back's got the ball or they're carrying it, you know, we're going to strip it. You know, we're going to hit them. Second guy come in, we're going to strip the ball and try to get it out. And, you know, turnovers are huge. You know, we need to have at least 3 to 4 turnovers a game. And if we can do that and get our offense the ball, you know, we can put some more points up on the board.
Tigers get it underway Thursday night. Central Oklahoma comes to town. We'll preview the Broncos when we come back for our final segment right here on Tiger Talk. Welcome back. It's our final segment on Tiger Talk, talking Fort Hays State football as the Tigers open up at home, Central Oklahoma, the first of several home games. In fact, 2 of the first 3 will be at home for Fort Hays State. First time the Tigers and the Broncos have met as MIAA foes. You played them in a non-conference game down in Edmond several years ago, and scary opponent in the sense that they were very young last year, new head coach, Coach Bobeck now a 3rd year, and he redshirted a lot of talented players, and they have maybe the most talented player in the league, Marquez Clark, back at wide receiver. This is a scary first opponent, as I'm sure they all are.
It is. You know, you just don't know what you're going to get from them. You know, you can watch film from last year and try to evaluate them, and, you know, there's some players that are there and some players that aren't, and you just don't know what you're going to get, you know, and Marquez, he's a very, very talented kid, can do a lot of things for him, and, you know, I see them to utilize him quite a bit and get him the ball as many times as they can, but, you know, it's just a scary opponent. You just don't know what they're going to do defensively. You don't know what they're going to do offensively, and, you know, you got to be prepared for everything. So going this game, you're just kind of unsure. But, you know, we're preparing our kids the best we can, and if things that they think we think they're going to do to us, and just continue to hone in on those things, and then hopefully things work out for us.
Well, Josh Birmingham is not back, and their starting quarterback is not back. They both graduated. In Birmingham, you got a taste of him as a youngster when you went down to Edmond and played them a non-conference game, and he was as good as anybody in the conference. But their backup got some time last year. He does return, and offensively, I know they've talked about how explosive they think they can be, and that will be a big test for your defense right out of the gate.
And it is. I think they do have some great players that are very explosive. I feel like they got 2 to 3 receivers that can make things, that can go deep and do some good things, with crossing routes and under routes, play action as well. Their quarterback, he played a lot last year as well, the kid that they have this year, and he's a very talented kid, and he runs very, very well. And, their backup running back from last year, I watch him, I'm like, hey, that kid's a pretty talented kid. He runs the ball well, he's got good speed, and he's a physical runner. So, we got to make sure that we keep everything in front of us, not give up the big play, and, make them earn everything that they get. And hopefully by making them earn things, maybe they'll make a mistake in there. We can cause a turnover or turnover on downs as well.
All right, well, it should be a lot of fun. I want to ask you, a Thursday night game, it is week 1. Does that really have much impact in your preparation? I would think less of an impact for the first game as if it was maybe week 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah, it is. It's just the same as any other week. We've basically started, a few days earlier than we would for a Saturday game. So it's not much change. You just lose a few days at camp. But, by that time, kids are ready to start preparing for an opponent, and that's what we've done so far.
All right, sounds good. Looking forward to it as always. Should be a fun season. It all gets underway on Thursday. Coach, as always, appreciate your time. We'll talk to you next Monday here on Tiger Talk.
Thank you.
And that is head coach Chris Brown as the Tigers take on Central Oklahoma. Again, it's a 7 o'clock kick at Lewis Field Thursday night. You can hear it on Tiger Radio Mix 103, 6 o'clock with the Auto World pregame show. That's going to wrap up Tiger Talk. Certainly hope you enjoyed the first program of the year. Again, normally on Monday nights through the rest of the football season. It's brought to you in part by the Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, the Taco Shop, G&L Tire and Automotive, Adams Brown, Barron and Ball, Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, Couture for Men and Women, James Motor Company, BTI, and of course the fine folks at Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill at 3203 Vine in Hayes, where the fire's always burning. For head football coach Chris Brown, this is Gerard Walbrock.
It's the Fort Hays State University Coaches Show on Eagle Community Television, brought to you by Eagle Communications.